endangering the life of the people. You are endangering the life of the people. So, you know, and when they are saying this, endangering the life of the people, we don't understand. What do they mean by endangering the life of the people when actually the life of every person in Nigeria is already in danger? So can you tell us, how do you explain to them how endangered are the life of people in Nigeria? Not even talk about Biafra now.
One Nigeria is what is endangering your life. If you stay in one Nigeria, you will die. It's a very simple fact. Why are people dying today? Is it not because of one Nigeria? Let's say miraculously they had agreed to what our great leader, our eternal leader Ojukwu said in 1967 and opted for a confederacy or a confederation. Do you think Fulani will come and kill you today? Is that not common sense? This people, they know the truth, they keep pretending. Let me tell you one thing, Simon. Those living in Kanu and Kaduna, they're endangering my life in the village. If because of you, the Fulanis have the temerity to come to kill us, that means you in Sokoto, you in Meduguri, with your 2x2 hotel, because of that, you want to endanger my entire village. You are the danger to me, not me to you. Let me tell you something. Have you ever wondered why each time the Fulanis, they kill people, they take over your land, and that is this who had this, you know, trouble now bubbling? They always talk about unity of the country. Unity of the country. What is it after each and every atrocity? The next thing talk about the unity of the country, because they know that within the so-called fake unity of Nigeria, they can perpetrate any evil and get away with it. Don't you know that? If Ojukwu went to Aburi and agreed a confederation with Goa, came back, Britain said no to it, because that will not allow them to use the Fulani to do Satan's work that they are doing, to the work that is the work of Lucifer. Everyone knows that very well. It's the work of darkness. Getting all these savages from across the Sahel to come in a country where we were before Koro here, before our eyes. The government of Nigeria said those killing people are foreigners. You know, when I go to it, it makes me very, very upset, to be honest. And I hate Nigeria the more, and anybody who calls him or herself a Nigerian. As I've told you, I don't see you as a human being. Once you say you're a Nigerian, I see you as something lower than you. God in heaven knows, I don't have any regard for you. Before our eyes, they ask them, people are killing us, so come to rescue us. So they say, no, they are foreigners. Now, the same foreigners, you want us to give them land to do agriculture. And I know, you know, honestly, I don't know the God that made black people. I'm being honest with you. I don't know who made it. I don't know where we came from. Because no human being can reason the way we do. That is not possible anywhere in the world. Who are those killing us? You said, oh, they are foreigners. Before our eyes, during COVID, the height of COVID, they closed southern borders, but opened northern borders. Nobody said anything. Even today, I was saying yesterday, they appointed a new EFCC chairman. That man is a foreign man. Nobody saying anything. So that means that Nigeria belongs to them. That means if you support one Nigeria, you support what the foreigners are doing. It means you want me, my village, to be taken and handed over to foreigners. Anybody canvassing for one Nigeria, you are a threat to me and to the way of life of our people. There is a reason why when you're going to the village, you buy a bottle of hot drink to give to an elder to pour libation on the ground of your ancestors. That was the same reason why when Joseph died in Egypt, they dug his body up, his bones, and took him back to the land of his fathers to go and bury him in Israel. That is who we are. Nobody can take our land from us. Anybody, oh, we are in the north, you are endangering us. Mind what you say, not to endanger us. But you living in the north, you are endangering me living in the village. I knew that when this problem started, they would say, oh, You have Igbos everywhere doing their business. Nobody's driving them away. Why are you driving? I know they will come to that. That is their method. Because you're living in Gwagwalada. I should give back to you. Fulani will take over back. Did they come for business? Is it today the threat to kill you? From 1945, they have been killing you. I remember when George Bush went, I think 2005 or whatever, and bombed Al Qaeda in, bombed, what are they called again? Iraq, in Afghanistan. In Kanu, they were killing us. In Kanu State, they were killing us. When somebody drew a cartoon of the Muhammad in Denmark, they kill us in the zoo. Have you all forgotten? Are we that foolish that we have all forgotten all of this? During election before your eyes, they destroyed polling stations. They said, oh, Biafrans are going there to go and vote, so let's destroy it. EU was there, they observed it, they saw everything. After seeing all of these things you're telling me about, I'm endangering your life. You are the one endangering me. And before you endanger me, I will endanger you first. Thank you very much.
Oyendo, this is a very strong one, and I think every Biafran agitators, including media and those writing in national media, should take this up. This is a very strong one. Those who say we are endangering their life or life of Igbos, the people in northern Nigeria, the people supporting one Nigeria are endangering our own life. I think this should be the message from now on, so that because a lot of people never understood, from this perspective you are coming from now. Because when you continue to push for one Nigeria, you continue to endanger the life of others, especially those who do not want to be part of Nigeria. And those people who do not want to be part of Nigeria are much in number than those who want to stay in Nigeria, which is just 1% of, if not up to 1% of them. So this message should be spread. We have to continue. Now, another thing is that when you listen to the Inspector General of Police, you just mentioned about the EFCC, in Fulani, and nobody is talking about it. When you look at the Inspector General of Police declaring what they call a POF, whatever, they have all these fine names they give to the operation and all that. He came to declare one operation POF, or what he called it, that they are going to, deploy people to northern Nigeria where the trouble zone and all that. And you know that the people going there are our own people from the south. And you know that he have just 3 months left. And in these 3 months, we know that this 3 months is going to be the most deadliest 3 months in Nigeria. Now they are sending our men and women to the northern part of Nigeria where Boko Haram and bandits are on rampage. And the idea is to go and slaughter them there. Because the thing that the military could not do is not somebody that went to police training that will go and quench the fire. Now, what do you have, even though we have been advising our people to quit? I don't know whether you have watched that video. One thing the man mentioned in that video that interests me, I apologize to our viewers because this thing is not allowing me to play even any video. I've tried and tried to play video. It is not working. So the thing this IG of police mentioned is that he after making a speech, he said something in Arabic or in Hausa language or something like Allah something. So I don't know what he said, but that thing he said interests me. I do not know why he is addressing Nigerians in English language. He ended up concluding it with Hausa and Arabic prayer, mentioning Allah. First of all, a lot of people will not pay attention to that, but it means a lot. As a state person, in a public office, addressing people, agency who are supposed to be serving in a secular state, it is not just a sacrilege, but something that should worry everybody. That a police IG addressing the police people, all of a sudden, at the end of the speech, he ended up speaking Arabic and mentioning Allah. Even a president, even though the one parading himself as a president, cannot do it, because it is completely against the constitution of Nigeria, if there is anything like that. So what do you have to advise our people?
They don't give a damn. Nigeria belongs to them. with the help of the British, belongs to them. Are you telling me that BBC hasn't seen what has been going on? Can't BBC do a documentary on Fulani killer headsmen to bring out all the facts? They know what is happening. They know Nigeria. If you don't know that Nigeria belongs to the Fulani, to the Janjaweed, then you're mistaken. The only thing that is still worrying me is how the Hausa peasants, even after all these years, have not grown any common sense to understand that they're being used. Nigeria belongs to them. They can do whatever they like. You've not seen them performing military drills in Hausa language, in their own native tongue. You have not seen the motto of the Nigerian army, that it is still the same banner that Ottoman Danfodio went into war with to take Gobert from the Hausa people. You don't know that? You have not seen Arabic on Nigerian army flag. I'm even surprised that we're not no longer even learning Arabic. I think the deposed emir of Kanu, Sanusi, went and took some money from Saudi Arabian government to introduce Arabic as a second language. So you people don't know the mess people don't know the mess they're in. You remember that time we used to say that the war is coming? They said we are warmongers, we are miscreants, we are touts. We have very beautiful names, and I love it. I'm the #1 miscreant anyway. All these names they keep calling us. The same words I used before is what Horeshoyinka is using today. They brought war to our doorstep. They told BBC. The work of BBC is to make sure that, regardless of how horrible the behavior of Fulani is to moderate it. That is why they can. What will you do if they speak Arabic? If they decide some people in Italy brought in hazardous waste and dumped it there, that port is still existing. You cannot see one cargo ship there. Only in Lagos, and it's congested. You come in that a ship will be waiting for his turn for her turn, because it's a ship, so it's a her for her turn for nearly 6-7 months to offload. And you're telling me about one Nigeria. People are in one night. Why wouldn't they speak? Who is the head of customs? A retired military colonel, or is it major? He doesn't wear customs uniform as required by law. He doesn't wear it. The Fulani have messed everybody up. Everybody is useless in the zoo. I don't know. I think it was Ohagi who was writing the that whoever is advising the Fulani is doing a very good job, because they know us very well. They know we are black people. They know nobody's going to come to rescue us. You can do whatever you like. The BBC is there. All they care about is to make sure that the Fulani continues their march to the sea. That is the work of the British and of the BBC, and it's not going to stop until we rise up and say, taken and handed over to Fulani. Anybody canvassing for one Nigeria, you are a threat to me and to the way of life of our people. There is a reason why when you're going to the village, you buy a bottle of hot drink to give to an elder to pour libation on the ground of your ancestors. That was the same reason why when Joseph died in Egypt, they dug his body up, his bones, and took him back to the land of his fathers to go and bury him in Israel. That is who we are. Nobody can take our land from us. Anybody, we are in the north, you are endangering us. Mind what you say, not to endanger us. But you living in the north, you are endangering me living in the village. I knew that when this problem started, they would say, oh, you have Igbos everywhere doing their business. Nobody's driving them away. Why are you driving? I know they will come to that. That is their method. Because you're living in Gwagwalada. I should give back to you. Fulani will take over back. Did they come for business? Is it today the threat to kill you? From 1945, they have been killing you. I remember when George Bush went, I think 2005 or whatever, and bombed Al Qaeda in, bombed, what are they called again? In Afghanistan. In Kanu, they were killing us. In Kanu State, they were killing us. When somebody drew a cartoon of the Muhammad in Denmark, they kill us in the zoo. Have you all forgotten? Are we that foolish that we have all forgotten all of this? During election before your eyes, they destroyed polling stations. They said, oh, Biafrans are going there to go and vote. Let's destroy it. EU was that they observed it. They saw everything. After seeing all of these things you're telling me about, I'm endangering your life. You are the one endangering me. And before you endanger me, I will endanger you first. Thank you very much.
Oyendu, this is a very strong one. And I think every Biafran agitators, including media and those writing in national media, should take this up. This is a very strong one. Those who say we are endangering their life or life of Igbos, the people in northern Nigeria, the people supporting one Nigeria are endangering our own life. I think this should be the message from now on, so that because a lot of people never understood, from this perspective you are coming from now. Because when you continue to push for one Nigeria, you continue to endanger the life of others, especially those who do not want to be part of Nigeria. And those people who do not want to be part of Nigeria are much in number than those who want to stay in Nigeria, which is just 1% of, if not up to 1% of them. So this message should be spread. We have to. A lot of people will not pay attention to that, but it means a lot.
Sister Chimamanda, because if you do good, we pardon you. If you mess up, as IPOB, we are too strong. We shred you to pieces. Today she has come back to her senses, saying she has. What we are saying is correct. You may not like it because I am saying it. You may not like it because someone is saying it. You may not like it because family writers are writing about it. You may not like it because a blessing is saying it, but it is the truth. You can hide and run and speak all your grammar and all that. It is the truth. Fulani will kill you. They will take your land. They will take it. And the BBC will cover up for them. So you don't know. I feel sorry for the animals in the zoo. Zoological Republic.
Thank you very much. Are you there?
I'm here. I can hear you very well.
Right. Very good. Very good. So, these people, the attack is still going on, and they are battling with the thing at the same time.
They are removing people. They remove people. That's what they do. We have over 10,000, 9,000 plus. They have removed nearly 2,000 people. That's what they do. They ignore them and continue.
Yes, they are throwing me off balance, but we have to continue. Now, when you look at some of the international laws on statehood, like you mentioned about that UN have all these laws and all that. Of course, they are not paying attention. So I just want to read some of the things that to simplify the actions of the United Nations that must shape the international laws of statehood. Man, those things that shape the international law for statehood, for example, the Biafra state, if at a point, as this thing is going now, Biafra declared state, is this. The resolution passed by the General Assembly, the decision of the International Court of Justice, the law recording codification effort of International Law Commission, and the decision by the members of by the member to enter treaty recognized or not recognized purported state. Now, there are in addition to this, there are three traditional criteria that could make people, indigenous people, to be regarded or to have a statehood. Because all these things I'm saying now is something that Biafra overqualified, like Biafra people overqualified. Now, the three traditional criteria is population, territory, and government. And then in defining or giving more meaning to all this, the three most basic and least controversial criteria of statehood come from Article 1. Article 1 of the Montevideo Convention of 1933. Now, although the treaty itself has never been officially adopted outside of the Americas, of course, we know what when it comes to international politics and international laws, Article 1 remains highly influential and is generally considered a reflection of most fundamental criteria of statehood. Talking about Biafra now, if what is going on, who knows anytime this year, who knows anytime next year, who knows anytime before 2023, if something happened that every nation in Nigeria begin to declare the statehood, just for clarity. Now, the population, the first fundamental criterion is a permanent population. Simply put, the population of a potential state cannot be entirely composed of nomad or travelers based elsewhere. And now we are talking about the Fulanese. So you cannot, Fulani cannot have a statehood because they fall under the nomad, and or they are regarded as the travelers or they're based elsewhere. They cannot be regarded as population. And that is happening in Nigeria. This is in law. That is happening in Nigeria. Fulani is claiming Nigeria where other people understood what international law says and chase them away. They come to Nigeria where Gari and the Akpu and the Ewedu and the Gusi has declared the sense of reasoning of the people who call themselves politicians. And they cannot know their left and right. And now Fulani has come to understand that the people that are in the front line of politics from the southern Nigeria are all Mumu, and they are using that Mumuness against every other Nigeria, which goes to what you have said, that these people are endangering your life and the life of other people while they continue to remain in Nigeria and nomads are controlled. Now, that is for population. Number two, the territory. The second is defined territory. The borders do not need to be fully defined or undisputed. They just need to be an identifiable location. And this is where I give it to you, and I doff my cap, because a lot of people have come to attack you about bring your map. Bring your map. In international law, like I said, the Montevideo Convention, anybody can go and check it out. You have what is defined as territory. You don't need to have a map, before as you are agitating for your freedom. You do not need to present your map to anybody. At the point where we are now, the question shouldn't be where is your map. So some people are actually misleading a lot of people into putting more effort and emphasis on what is map. But rather, the law says there just needs to be an identifiable location. And you have done this in several of your broadcasts, mentioning where you think Biafra should start from and where it should end. That's exactly in conformity with what this law says. Then another thing is, number 3 is government. I'm not asking you a question. I'm just backing up with what you've said. The 3rd is an effective independent government with the capacity to enter into relation with other states. This is the trickiest of the 3 elaborated. Of course, this you have also done very perfectly and excellently well. For those who are looking for what is, how the Biafra government is going to be and all that, you have actually set an example, you have actually set a pace, and actually form 2 parts in this Montevideo Convention, but essentially require states to have structured, legally independent administration that control at least some of its claimed territory and population. Some additional point to note are: a state does not have to have actual diplomatic relation. It could be under diplomatic boycott. It just needs to have capacity to have them. I believe, with what is going on now in Nigeria, we are going to come to this point of this Montevideo Convention. It may be invoked as time goes on, because when you anoba joso abaya jebe. So, and I believe that other part of Nigeria will also, without even knowing it, adopt this Montevideo Convention. Now, having said this, the Nigeria we see today, and the way the federal government of the Nigeria are backing terrorists openly, without even hiding it. They are backing the terrorists openly, supporting them, romancing with them, having meeting with them, and not only that, they are supporting them. The Sultan of Sokoto, who they regard as the traditional ruler of Nigeria, he is the chairman of board of trustee of Mayete Allah.
Of course.
Mayete Allah has come publicly to take responsibility of the terrorist attack against southern Nigeria. Now, in addition to this, the person that is parading himself as a president in Nigeria is a board member of this terrorist group that have been ranked number 4 deadliest terrorist group in the world. People are not paying attention to this. And when they are killing people, the Minister of Information, who happened to fall into the territory that was conquered in a Kwara state, now come to say, we are not going to treat terrorists the same way we will treat those who want to get their freedom from Nigeria. That is the most absurd thing I have ever had in my life. I know you have addressed this particular comment coming from the liar Mohammed, from Kwara State. But please, can you, in a different, from a different perspective, can you tell us how would somebody who say he's a Nigerian, especially from the eastern part of Nigeria, and you call yourself a politician, you go to Abuja, you call yourself a governor, you go to Abuja, you call yourself a House of Assembly member, you go to your state and all this, and then you hear somebody saying that those who has made you not to travel by road to Abuja, those who made you not to travel by road to Enugu, those who made you not to travel by road to Owerri, with all your fine vehicle and all your cars, they are not to be proscribed. Rather, the people who say you should have your freedom are being proscribed. In Nigeria, where you actually have state judiciary, that you can actually go and approach the state judiciary and order them to de-proscribe IPOB. For the statement coming from that Minister of Information requires opposite reaction. Now, what do you have to tell our people who think this way, that after that statement, nobody has actually come out to say anything? At least I have not read. I have not read anybody.
They will not come because they've been conquered. We are all slaves of the Fulani without knowing it. Not us anyway, maybe not IPOB, but the rest of the zoo. And I must thank you very much for the depth and for the depth of your research in terms of the Montevideo Convention. Montevideo is in Uruguay, for those who do not know. You know, the reason why I never responded to those half-baked intellectuals that keeps talking rubbish about roadmaps because they don't know anything. I'm a student of contemporary politics. I actually read politics at the university in London. So when I hear some fools who are not educated talk about things that are above their station, I feel sorry for them. All of the indices you mentioned are very relevant. But I think the last one you alluded to is the most important. The United States of America, where I am today, went ahead to unilaterally recognize Kosovo as an independent nation. And today, Kosovo stands as an independent nation. It is your willpower, your determination to fight for what you believe in. Had our war gone on for 6 more months, at the time it ended in January of 1970, we would have been a free people today, because the world was waiting to see how determined we are. The reason why sometimes our people tend to not to understand the dynamics of international politics is because they are not well read. They are not well traveled. When we say it, they say we are arrogant. No, we're not being arrogant. It's just that we happen to be educated. And we know what we're doing. We know what we're talking about. We know what we're pursuing, and we know how to get it. Having taken into consideration all the mitigating factors against the emergence of Biafra, our approach has therefore to be unorthodox. If you adopt the orthodox approach to state creation, you are bound to fail. They will ask you, oh, but you are in a democracy. Why don't you go through your senators and go to, you know, that's, I call it a checkpoint, where the ganja weed is waiting for you to come. Once you come there, they swallow you up. That is the zoo called Nigeria for you. There is something that our people will need to understand. How many people are there in Liechtenstein? I think there are about 150,000 people or less. And Liechtenstein is a separate nation state today in Europe. Nobody is complaining. Nobody is saying that they are too small, they cannot participate in what is happening within that very place. Our people need to understand this and understand it very well. That our march towards freedom is multifaceted. The approach we are adopting is multifaceted. We approach it from different angles and dimensions to deliver one result, which is freedom. And in so doing, since the world has come and basically washed their hands off Africa to say, do whatever you can to survive, we are going to do what we can to make sure that we survive. If I understand our situation very, very clearly, is that our people need to remain very, very strong and resolute. Very strong and resolute. That a white man have always defeated black people with one thing: mental strength and resilience. When they were trying to go to the moon, the rockets blew up. The scientists at NASA, most people died in the process of trying to place a man in orbit. But it didn't stop them. They were not deterred. They continued. Where you have superstition, you replace it with practical things. And that is what we have done and will continue to do until we arrive. We understand all the internal dynamics of how a zoo functions. In the case of Nigeria, we know it very well. But one thing our enemies did was to underestimate us, which is a very good thing. I love the way they underestimated our resolve, our resilience, our determination, our intellect, our knowledge.
Thank you, Onyendu. Now let us now go from the fundamental Fundamental in the sense that, you know, when people are hearing that we are agitating for Biafra, we want Biafra, some of them in the West, we say the political elite are not shouting Biafra, that they are only those who are in diaspora, you know, like civilized ones, are the ones shouting for Biafra. And this fact, a lot of people don't know. When you look at it, you find out that 99% of people in Biafra are shouting Biafra. 99% of Biafrans in Nigeria are shouting for Biafra. Only 1%, not even up to 1% of this so-called elite. These are the politicians that have been benefited from Nigeria. Now, I want us to look at how will disintegrated Nigeria favor the region before we come into the crisis and the lives that have been lost as a result of trying to keep one Nigeria. Can you tell us, how do you think that a disintegrated Nigeria will favor the Fulani themselves, the Hausa themselves, the Middle Belt, the Oduduwas, the Biafrans, and any other nation that will want to come out of Nigeria? Explain to us. Let us hear.
Before I came on this your fantastic program today, I read a very brilliant piece, or should I say a comment by somebody. The person said that Nigeria is the only place he knows where yesterday is better than today. Ask yourself, at which point in Nigeria's history did they record the highest level of human development? It was when they were on their own, when they were semi-autonomous regions. So there is an already made example there for people to reference, should they wish to do so. It was when this unitary mindset came into existence that things started to fall apart. So if when you were on your own, the North was doing very well, the West was doing very well, Obama had the fastest growing economy in the world at nearly 48% every year. Awolowo did his magic in the West. Now tell me, you have a simple example when people were, should I say, semi-autonomous, or should I say autonomous, so to speak, they were doing very well. Now you are together in one Nigeria, everything is falling apart to the extent that people are coming from Mali, from Senegambia, from Niger, from Chad, in your backyard, already and telling you. It's a no-brainer. It's simple common sense. As I said before, that is who we are. Because once you allow an element of stress, an infusion of competition, you get the best out of the people. Right now, we do not have that. Right now, there is no competition. Right now, this thing about one Nigeria, unity is stifling the creative potentials in us, all of us. Yoruba is not doing well. Biafra is not doing well. Middle Belt is not doing well. The North is not doing well. Nobody's doing well. Then you ask yourself, all these glorious reference to our past, what period was it? The only period was between 1960 to 1965. And then you add regions. Who can argue with that? So the more you separate, the more you look inwards, the more you look at yourself, the more you become self-reliant, the more do you know that in those days, all the regions that they had embassies abroad? Do you know that? Do you know Eastern region had their own embassies abroad with their flag? Are you aware of that? Most people don't know this. And that was the time that Nigeria witnessed a semblance of growth in terms of human development. Now you have a very, should I say, disgraceful contraption called one Nigeria. And everybody is struggling. Cows are making your lives a misery. If you don't know that going back to autonomy is the best way forward, then there is something wrong with that person.
Onyedu, thank you very much. Just because you know everything we do in Biafra, we stand by the truth. We do everything with evidence and fact. Just to back up what you have just said, I told you about 93 pages of application filed to the ICC. Barely few years of formation of IPOB, because this was in 2016. Barely 2 years, the foundation of Nigeria were shaken by the formation of IPOB and the activity of the IPOB in Nigeria. So on that ground, This application was filed in 2016 January. So I am bringing it to the screen now for people to see. For those who are asking, this is number one. The application has been filed 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and this is 2021. And there is nothing to show for it. And there is a place I'm going. I'm going somewhere with this statement I'm making now, which we are going to discuss, later on in this program. Now, when you read the introduction here, it says, one, this communication is hereby filed to the Office of the Prosecutor, the OTP of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, pursuant to Article 15 of the Rome Statute, the statute, by Professor Goran Slota and Andrew, on behalf of the indigenous people of Biafra, a movement dedicated to self-determination of a former republic of Biafra in southeastern Nigeria, as well as on behalf of 17 individual citizens of Nigeria, the victims collectively, with the IPOB, the petitioner. Two, the petitioner submit that, based on the information set out herein, there is reason to believe that crimes against humanity within the jurisdiction of the ICC, in particular, murder, unlawful imprisonment, torture, enforcement, disappearance, other inhuman acts, and persecution have been committed in the context of politically and ethnically motivated state violence against primarily IPOB members and the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria. Due to the absence of domestic criminal proceedings with respect to those potentially bearing the greatest responsibility for these crimes, in particular, but not limited to Nigeria current President Muhammadu Buhari, and that was then, and in the light of the gravity of the act committed. Now, this is 93 pages, 93 good pages. The list can go on and go on. Factual evidences, citations, references, up to 93 good pages. And of course, like you said in the beginning, that you do not want to discuss this thing because a lot have been done and the people are not aware of it. So just to let the public understand, what the IPOB have done all this while, when people go on social media to say IPOB under leadership of Nnamdi Kanu is doing this or they are not doing that, so this is just one evidence of it, that as far back as 2016, you have started taking actions which are necessary, lawful and legal actions against the Nigeria terrorist state. But up to now, nothing is happening. But I'm still going to come back to why I am showing this thing, because the actions of today is as a result of the failure of the international community to heed to the call of the Biafra people, of which you have done honorably well in that aspect. So this is just a side comment on what you have said before. Now, going to what you've just said about how Nigeria, how it will benefit the other region and the component that makes up Nigeria, how it will benefit them when Nigeria is disintegrated. And you made mention of what you read, that Nigeria of yesterday, that yesterday is better than today. And that is very awkward fact. Very, very awkward fact that every president that comes to Nigeria, the last one will always be better than the new one. It has been it's not that. But the second question, or the third question I want to ask you is this. Now, looking at what is happening now, a lot of people don't understand what is going on in Nigeria. A lot of people still believe of course, they still believe somehow in Nigeria, they believe that the structure, the political structure of Nigeria is the major problem. And we, people following you, have a different view and a different opinion to this. And I think this is where the interest is clashing. Anybody that is shouting for Nigeria today believe that the problem is in the political structure. We are believing that the problem is not about political structure, but rather there is a motivated or there is a premeditated act to take our land and turn it into Islamic State of colonize us. So we are not looking at the aspect of the political structure anymore. It is a struggle for survival of our people. I want you to shed more light on this because, you know, those supporting one Nigeria must have risen. And the reason what we have seen is that they are thinking that the political structure of Nigeria is the problem of Nigeria. So can you tell us more about, you know, that it is not the political structure, rather something they should know about?
Thank you, Simon. It's something they know about, but pretend not to know about it. Everybody knows about the hegemonic tendencies of the Fulani Caliphate. We are well versed in the, should I call it, shenanigans of those people who are always expanding. There was a lecture that I gave that the Fulanis are the only people that continues to expand. Not expand in terms of population, but in terms of territorial influence and supplanting existing cultures and traditions with their own. When we say this thing, people say, oh, you're warmongering, you're profiling, and it is hate and all the rest of it. And I say it is pure nonsense. Look at the history of the Hausa people. Those of you that want one Nigeria, look at what is happening today in Borno, the place you call Borno State. Look at the fate of those of them in the Middle Belt. Look at the fate of those of them, our brothers and sisters in Yoruba land, Yoruba. Even the Caliphate left their footprint there many, many years ago in Kwara State. Many years ago, they overran Nupe people of Niger State. Many years ago, some of you don't know this. They forcibly tried to convert the Atta of a Ghana to Islam. These things are there in our history books. They are everywhere. If one Nigeria means that our land should be surrendered to people from Senegambia, then death is a better option because it's not going to happen. We are the Biafran people, and within that Biafra, it contains a very unique race in the world called Igbo race. They are very difficult, don't get me wrong, but they are very unique. Very, very unique. I don't think anybody is more stubborn than we are. I don't think anybody is more generous than we are. I do not believe that any race on this earth is more affluent in terms of natural blessing than we are. Anybody thinking they can use the guise of one Nigeria to take the land of our ancestors, that person is dreaming. Them and their cohorts, they are dreaming. And I will tell you why they're dreaming. They have tried before, over 300 years ago, to take that very land. They failed. Islam made it to the sea across West Africa. Islam made it to the Atlantic Ocean. The only place that Islam did not succeed in penetrating is the East. And when they came for that very jihad, we had no army at all. God Almighty in heaven fought for us. All their armies died. That thing they tried in Kwara State and succeeded, they tried it in Lower Benue, in Idoma and Igere lands, and they failed. All their armies died. The few that survived, they trekked back to Zaria from whence they came. I must warn anybody. All of these people agitating or saying, oh, we want one Nigeria, you are setting up yourselves to fail. You are as foolish as Hausa peasants. Hausa peasants did the same thing you're doing. Oh, allow them, give them land, give them cattle. By the time they woke up, all their kings were dead. Hausa kingdoms became Fulani emirates. If you have Hausa governors, you have Fulani governors. Telling you we are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. And I keep asking myself, why is it that people don't see all these things? Is it because, of course, that is why we call them a zoo, because they are very foolish, without apologies to anyone. Because if you are not foolish, history is there for you to reference. These people asking you for land, asking you for rule and maintain peace, let's stay in one Nigeria. What are their antecedents? What have they done in the past? Because where we come from, nationalism, from their behavior in the past, you now know if you can trust them or not. But it's Britain that is behind the scenes, remoting everything that's happening in this zoo. I am a British citizen. I hold a British passport. I know there are good men and women in England. It is a land of conscience. It was English people that left Southampton to come to America to build America, the land of the free. English people, yes. They traveled on a ship called Mary Rose. They landed at a place called New England. Conscientious, honorable, God-fearing people. They were the ones that helped slaves to escape from the south to the north. English people. But there is a breed we have now. Blood-sucking demons. Their job is to hold Africa down, to hold the black person down. And how are they doing it? They don't want you to tamper with any of their creations in Africa, all these idiotic states, all these artificial boundaries they gave us in Africa. No, because that is the beginning of the chain that is holding us down, and they know it. And the question is, who is a Nigerian? And I will ask you a simple, I want you to contemplate something, Simon, for me. If I ask you now to go and prepare a Nigerian dish for me, what are you going to present? Because if you bring a wedu soup, somebody from the East will tell you that is not their food. They're not going to eat it. If you bring afang or a dikaifong, somebody from Kano State will tell you that is not our food. If you bring tuwo, is it tuwo shinkafi or whatever they call it, somebody from the Middle West will say that is not our food. Ordinary food, there is no commonality. Is it the way they dress? So I keep asking myself every blessed day when I wake up, what is it that unites Nigeria together? And then I discovered it is two things. An innate desire to be corrupt, and secondly, stupidity. Those two things are very, very pivotal. They are the things driving the zoo. People talk about their founding fathers. When the Fulanis are talking, they say our founding fathers, and I keep asking them, Nigeria, your president, so-called, the dead Buhari, is older than the country. And where else in the world do you have a head of state that is actually older than the country in the 21st century? So, sure, tell me one place. Only in Africa. Because they came to Africa and they built all these contraptions, and now we, in our idiocy and stupidity as black people, we accepted it. As I keep asking all the time, can you go to Europe to build a country for them? They will hang you that same day. If you cannot do the same thing in Europe that Europeans did in Africa, then why are you accepting it? Why are you accepting it? The key thing here is the way we reason. That is the problem with the black man, how we reason. People talk about Nigeria as their country, talk about Nigeria as their nation, as if Nigeria has any legs to stand on in the first place. Nigeria it has no meaning. It is a very derisory meaning. It means something very terrible and very awful. If I ask in Yoruba language, tell me the meaning of Nigeria, you cannot tell me. If I go to Yoruba language, tell me the meaning of Nigeria, you cannot tell me. But I know the meaning of England. It's the land of the English people. I know the meaning of France, or is the land of the French people. It's only in Africa they have all this garbage. And we are, after our university, after our so-called PhD, FFD, SSD, common to reason like a human being, we cannot. Those are the things we are fighting. And those are the things that our detractors are very, very uncomfortable with. And that is why today you must pat yourself on the back, and every IPOB member for that matter, for the very simple reason. At last, people are beginning to reason with this. All thanks to what we are doing. So don't mind them. When they go back into the privacy of their homes, they consider what we're saying is right. But outwardly, due to economic, political, or whatever thing that it is, they wish to toe the line of let's keep Nigeria warm. We are not fighting with anybody. All we're asking them to do is to reason for once in their useless lives to be able to. They say insult them. If you're an idiot, why won't I insult you? I'm asking you, go to a white man's land and tell them you want to create a country in Europe. That day they will roast you alive. They will, in fact, they will first of all inject you. They will say you are not well in the brain. They came to our land, they divided Yoruba into three. Some Yoruba is in Togo, some Yoruba is in Benin Republic, some are in the zoo. You're telling me that a Yoruba man who is in Nigeria is more related to a Canadian man who is in Borno, more than his own brother in the other side of Paraguay, in Porto Novo, in Benin Republic. They speak the same language, wear the same clothes, do eat the same food, everything is the same. But a white man, now we have French Yoruba, those who are in Benin Republic and in Togo. We now have English Yoruba who are in Nigeria. What type of God made us? And let me give you an example before I conclude on this very point. Simon, is this. Do you know that Togo used to belong to Germany before? Togo, they were Germans before. After the Second World War, they used Togo to compensate France because Germany lost the war. And these are human beings in Africa, for Christ's sake. I can't understand this type of nonsense. I can't understand it. And that is why I keep saying that the one of the greatest disasters to befall me in life is to come from Africa. We are people who do not reason. How can you have the same people? One part is French, the other part is English. Is English and is Yoruba and the French, are they the same people? The answer is no. And you're telling me that a Yoruba man inside Nigeria should be related with somebody in Borno State. Lord have mercy. Thank you very much, please.
Thank you very much, Onyendo. You have explained this thing very broadly. The point you have made very clear is that they knew that the problem of Nigeria is not based on political structure. They know it very well. Problem of Nigeria is that people are conquering our land and they are trying to take our land and convert us into Fulani nation and caliphate, and that will be resisted with everything we have. Now, the next thing I want to talk about or ask you about is, of course, like I said, we are going to get tough. This evening we are going to say things that will provoke a lot of people. And on that note, I'm going to bring to the screen the international acceptable, or should I say, the Declaration of Human Rights on freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Now, when you look at what is going on in the zoo, they circulated some kind of threat letter to the medias in Nigeria, threatening them that you must not mention Fulani. When the Fulani have attacked and killed people, you must not mention them. So I'm going to read just very briefly a couple of these international laws. Like here, you see the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 19. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. These rights include freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. Now, the same, another international covenant on human political rights, Article 19, everyone shall have right to hold opinion without interference. Everyone shall have the right to freedom of expression. The right shall include freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kinds, regardless of frontiers, either orally or written or in print. And we
not apologies to anyone, because if you are not foolish, history is there for you to reference.